What's for dinner?
Hey everyone, I'm Chef Zee and welcome back to my channel, Chef Zee Cooks. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some delicious crispy carnitas, which translates into little meats. And what it is juicy, tender pork shoulder that has been seasoned to perfection and cooked to perfection. And what you get is this just buttery, smooth pork that's seriously out of this world. If you're a regular here on my channel, then you know that I have a recipe here on my channel on how to make Cuban style masitas. And let me tell you guys something, masitas and carnitas are very, very similar. Where they differ is how you cook them, but the concept behind it is actually very, very similar. So I'm super excited to share this version with you guys. And just know, the same way that there were a ton of different ways on how to make masitas, there's a ton of different ways on how to make carnitas. In fact, we're actually going to take some pork shoulder and we're gonna leave some of the fat on there. More on that later. We're going to season it with some of my favorite ingredients like oranges and limes. We're gonna add some kosher salt. We're also going to be adding some cumin, some oregano, a ton of garlic, because you guys know garlic is a must here on my channel. We're going to mix everything until it's well combined. Then we're going to place it into a baking dish and we're going to slow roast it for about 3.5 hours until the meat is absolutely tender. And then we're going to finish it off by placing the meat in the broiler and it's going to crisp up to perfection. And then you can use the meat to either make some of your favorite tacos or even make your own burrito bowl. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
Making carnitas is super easy, and we're going to need some pork shoulder, some fresh thyme, some fresh limes, fresh oranges, some black pepper, kosher salt. We're also going to need some fresh garlic, Dominican or Mexican oregano, cumin, and some olive oil, or really any oil of your choice. Now pay attention to the meat. You definitely want it to have some marbling, and you want to leave some of the natural fat because it's actually going to render down and leave the pork really nice, juicy, and tender. We're gonna start seasoning the pork with some kosher salt. Now keep in mind that I took some pork shoulder and I went ahead and I diced it up myself and I removed the bone. We're going to add some black pepper and we're going to mix it all together. Now it's really important whenever you're making pork that you season it very liberally and you salt it generously, because pork has a tendency to sweat off salt, and you want to make sure that your carnitas is super tasty and very well seasoned. So go ahead and season to your liking. It's a little bit more forgiving than other meats. We're now going to add some cumin, which is going to add a lovely flavor. I'm using whole Dominican oregano, but you can definitely use a Mexican oregano because the two are actually very similar and very close in flavor. We're now going to mix everything again until it's well combined, because you want to make sure that all of those pork pieces are covered in this awesome seasoning. Now when you dice the pork, feel free to leave them in bigger chunks just so that they shred nicely at the end. We're now going to add some fresh garlic, which I've gone ahead and I've actually mashed in my pilon, and I will have one listed down below in the description box in case you're interested in having your own mortal and pestle. Like always, we're now going to mix this as well, and now we're going to be adding some of my favorite ingredients, which are the citrus. Now you guys know that I'm a huge fan of using sour oranges. However, I couldn't find any in my local grocery store, so I went ahead and made my own, and that's super easy. All you want to do is take a fresh orange and juice it, and then to that we're also going to add some fresh lime. Now it's totally up to you. You can use only limes or you can use only oranges, or you can do like I did here where I mixed the two to get that sour orange flavor. Really what we're looking for is some nice acidity, so whichever one you prefer is going to work. We're now going to mix everything until it's well combined. And honestly, guys, this smells absolutely amazing. Now, these are some classic Hispanic flavors that will never fail you. So after we've mixed everything, I'm just gonna throw in that fresh thyme. And now I'm going to take that orange that I squeezed earlier and I'm just going to slice it. And what we're going to do is that we're going to take those orange slices and we're going to add it to our meat because we want some of that flavor to really come out later on when we cook this. We're now going to add some olive oil because this is a dish that's actually going to cook in its own oil and its own fat, and it's going to give us some pork that is super juicy and tender. Now you can let this marinate for 20 minutes or you can even let it marinate overnight. The choice is totally up to you. We're now going to take a baking dish and we're now going to place all of that seasoned pork into the baking dish. Now, don't worry if the pork is tightly packed because we're actually going to slow roast this, so you don't want it to have too much space. Now, this is a little bit different than when I made my Cuban style masitas because we're actually going to be making this in the oven. However, the concept is the same. In my Cuban masitas, we actually cooked it in its own fat as well. And the same goes for these crispy carnitas. We're now going to cover it with some aluminum foil, and you want to make sure that it's tightly covered because this is going to be really important in the cook process. And talking about cooking, we're going to slow roast this at 325 degrees for 3.5 hours. And you know the pork is ready when it is tender and fall off the bone. So we're now going to take it out of the oven and we're going to place it onto a baking sheet. So the pork is all the way cooked through, so if you want to go ahead and sneak a taste, you totally can. And what we want to do is we want to spread the pork evenly on our cook sheet. And then we want to go ahead and we now want to shred the pork. Now you can shred it as much or as little as you want. I personally like to leave a couple of big chunks, and I also like to remove any excess fat pieces because we now don't need them anymore. That fat has already rendered down, which has made our pork super tender, and as you can see, it shreds super easy. So once we finish shredding all of that juicy pork, you just want to make sure that it's not too crowded. And we're now going to take some of that broth that was left over when we slow roasted it, and we just want to very carefully place some over top because there is a ton of flavor. And now for the final step, we just want to take our shredded crispy carnitas and we're going to broil them for about 5 minutes until the meat is nice and crispy. So there you guys have it. That's my recipe for some crispy carnitas, which I love having with some fresh lime at the very end. And as you can see, this looks absolutely delicious. Visit my website for more information. And until next week, I'm Chef Zee y buen provecho.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Now listen, don't go too far. Be sure to hit that bell so that you're notified each and every single time I post an all-new video. Join the Chef Zee family, and just know that I have a ton more delicious recipes here on my channel. And in fact, you can click on them right here. All right, I think that's good. I'm ready to eat. Oh my goodness, babe. Dinner is gonna be bombs.com. Carnitas is on the menu. Oh, so good.